So I'm going to somewhat pretentiously title this the only Yuumi guide. Now, obviously, I haven't watched all of the other Yuumi guides out there, but like League YouTube comment guides in general are kind of terrible. Plus, like nobody understands Yuumi, or at least like understood her when she was released. So, like I'm pretty sure all the other guides suck. Like from what I've seen of them, there's a lot of just like narration of her abilities, like stuff you could just like read off of the wiki. Like just what her basic abilities do. And then like halfway through the video, they finally get to like giving their opinions on the champion, and it's nothing like original or insightful or anything. And like it also basically has like a coin flip chance of being wrong. Like the sort of what could be opinions aren't even like helpful because they're probably just wrong. Um, and so I know this sounds sort of cocky, but like I've played a relatively, a lot of Yuumi since she was released, and got to like 1,000 LP challenger, like rank 10 on her. So like I feel kind of justified saying everyone's bad at her. Um, so kind of cocky, but whatever. So hopefully this is just gonna be stuff like that you don't already know. I don't want to just like you know read off of the wiki or whatever. So I'm not gonna bother like narrating. Um, what all her like just abilities do. So I just want to get right into it. So like you max Q, then E, then W. Q is good poke. W is this like fake spell, like the AP it gives or adaptive force or like no, it doesn't matter. Like just ignore it when you choose to W or someone or not W. Like it doesn't matter. Maybe inside like after you're done maxing Q and like it might be better to put a point into W instead of E. Like I don't know. The point is you put points in Q and E early, and don't care about the adaptive force on W at all. Um, for your summoners, you go heal exhaust. I think most of the time your ADC takes TP. I think exhaust is probably better than ignite because if someone's like close enough to you, then you maybe want to exhaust them. For the peel, probably. And you're AC like TP is good obviously because you can back with them and then TP back with them or like follow them or whatever. But maybe in some cases a defensive summoner is good too, like barrier, like Cleansea or Riscalio is probably good. Um, and I've seen people say no flash is like you need flash. You don't take flash. It's dumb. Like you don't need the mobility or whatever yourself. Just go to like combat summoners. The, the flash for being on like you shouldn't be on your own. I'll get to that later, but yeah, you shouldn't be on your own. For items like spell thieves, if you go coin, you're really griefing. Like again, I'll get to this later. You should be poking. Um, yeah, if you go coin, you're just trolling. It's not. I hate when people phrase it like, "Oh, it's a trade-off." If you want to play aggressively and poke, you can go spell thieves. If you want to just be passive and farm it out, you go coin. No, it's like if you want to play the game, you go spell thieves, and if you want to like grief your team, you go coin. That's basically how it works for Yuumi. Um, don't go coin. It's not the only trade off is like, do you want to win or not? So if you want to win, go spell thieves. Dark Seal is good. Boots are not good. Dark Seal's not. I mean, you can die if like the person you're on dies and you have no one to attach to. But like, she's such a like KDA horde champion. Honestly, like you shouldn't be dying. So like Dark Seal is really good. Like even Magi potentially. Um, Boots, no. Again, more later. Like you want to be attached to people all the time. So your move speed really does not matter. So no boots on this champion. Um, and your first like item should be Athene's, like your first real item, because it just has all these like broken like the damage conversion because you're maxing Q first, right? Um, Athene's works really well with that because all the damage you get from queuing people, you can just now give to the people you attach to. After that, sensor is probably good. It gives you good AP. It's just sort of gold efficient with Athenes. Plus, you can apply it to people fairly well. Um, Especially if you have your shield up, you can just like hop around and constantly apply it. Otherwise, Airy will apply when you W to someone from like unattached to attach. Otherwise, if you're just going from one attached person to another, it won't. but like you can just press E and give a sensor to someone anyway. So with Airy, or not even with Airy, just like it does give Airy, which is a nice thing about pressing E. But like obviously it heals them, so they get sensor anyways. And then I think Redemption or Crucible. I think Crucible is sort of an underrated item. If you are not playing on a million ping and like have a mouse and can react to CC, I think Crucible can be good in some situations, but people just go Redemption every game for some. I mean, Redemption's probably good too. You can also get Death Cap, I think, at the end of the game. After that. And then primary runes, I think Airy, Mana Flow Band, Absolute Focus. Transcendence sucks, but another fake trade-off, Absolute Focus versus Transcendence is like an early versus late game trade-off. Like it's again, it's like a do you want to win or do you want to grief your team? It's the trade-off. Like do not go Transcendence on support champions because you don't get level 10 until like the game is already over. Because like for Yuumi in particular, right, you're always going to be splitting experience with someone, so you're not going to get level 10 like anytime soon. So you might as well just get Absolute Focus, which like gives you ability power and is good. And like it's not like Absolute Focus stops doing anything at level 10. Like it gives you like 17 AP then. Um, and so since you're going to be building like Athenes and stuff anyways for cooldown reduction, like Absolute Focus is fine then. So just like go Absolute Focus. Transcendence is no. Scorch is. I mean, I don't know. I like it in theory to poke with Yumi's Q, and maybe it's good, damage. I don't know. It might just be like a sort of weak rune or something. Like I could see Gathering Storm being better, like because like an actual like early game versus late game trade off. Because like unlike Transcendence, which is gated by level, like you get Gathering Storm no matter what at level at like 10 minutes and 20 minutes. So like past 10 minutes, I think Gathering Storm probably is as good or better than Scourge. And at 20 minutes, it definitely is. Uh, but maybe Scorch is better for lane. It might depend. Who knows? But I think Gathering Storm is not trolling at all. I could see that being better than Scorch. So secondary runes are actually kind of interesting. So you can go Cosmic Insight and like boots, and like you can just like sell the boots if you need them for an item or something. Like the CDR is probably good. The extra gold's probably good. So you could do worse. You can also go Resolve for Revitalize and Shield Bash. So Revitalize is nice. She has her E and her shield, and I think there's probably some real, like really good synergy with if someone's like low HP and you press E on them with Revitalize, they get all their health back or something. That's probably good. And Shield Bash actually applies on her passive auto, so that's sort of nice because it gives you a useful rune in this tree. Like normally on supports, if you're going Resolve, like what's it called? Conditioning can be good for like Sona or something. I think it's not bad, but like Yumi's health doesn't matter really, or her armor. Like you don't want to be tanky. It's just a waste. So Shield Bash is good though because it works in your passive auto. Like it might not do that much because like realistically you probably don't auto that much, but like in lane it hopefully does some damage. So it lets you get revitalized, which is helpful. But then the sort of spicy thing is precision secondary for cut down. By the way, I originally thought of this like as soon as Yuumi came out because the EU Sona player Schubart goes cut down on Sona because Sona's another like 0 HP champion. Like Yuumi has even less HP than Sona, so like cut down is just a Smurf rune. It like does as much damage as Scorch early game. Like even if you verse like a ranged matchup in lane or something, and like heavily outdamage Scorch in the rest of the game. So like cut down it's just a great rune for Yuumi because she has like no health and like does a surprising amount of damage. If you're just queuing people like. You can like look at the damage charts at the end of the game if you're playing well, and like you'll stop being surprised after a while and just be like, yeah, I do about as much damage as my jungler or whatever. Like, so cut down is actually a good. Anyway, like like spammed in people's chats to take cut down and like all chatted to take cut down. I think people take cut down now, so um, I mean I don't want to. I probably don't get. I think the play testers were actually testing cut down as well. Apparently, they also said like an earlier iteration of Yuumi. I talked to one of them had like 250 health, like a 250 health champion, and so cut down was just like insanely broken then when they tried it. So it sounds interesting. And then I think people go presence of mind because it's the only other thing in precision that seems good. You actually don't really need the mana, right, at all, probably at this point. Like you have mana regen, um, so it's just for the old CDR. Like on Sona, I could totally see Presence of Mind. On Yuumi, I don't know. I've been trying Triumph, like maybe just for the gold it gives, and like health, why not? But like it gives you 20 gold. It's like pretty shit, but it might add up. And I don't know if Presence of Mind actually helps, but yeah, I mean, it's you need some secondary rune. You mainly just go precision for cut down. Um, cut down is a Smurf rune. So for laning, her Q is like undodgeable. I mean, and yeah, I think it takes some practice to get good at like just seeing the angles and like knowing when you can Q. But it really is undodgeable. Just like everything about it, like the turn rate, the speed, the size, the range of the projectile, just feels so incredibly good and like easy to hit. Like any Q that you think might possibly hit, like will hit. Um, the one thing that feels bad is when your ADCs don't like walk, like when you're on them and you Q and they don't walk forwards, and like you could hit it if they walk forwards, but they don't. And like they could just walk forwards like a little bit and be totally safe, but they don't because they don't realize. But whatever. The point is, her Q is really good poke and lane. It is undodgeable, and so you want to rotate your Q and your passive and use them as much as possible. Um, which, by the way, means you want to be attached because I think early game, like, you know, again, the CDs you want to think about are your Q and your passive and your W. I think you can get two Qs off, right, while you're attached and then, you know, unattach for the W and attach again. Um, I've seen a lot of people, like, when people are even like, okay, well, maybe people are bad at Yuumi, the criticism they always have is like, people spend too much time attached and make it a 4v5 or something. Like, it's so dumb. Um, like, it becomes a 4v5 when Yuumi isn't attached. Like, she becomes a champion when she attaches. That's when she can actually, like, queue people. Um, maybe, like, level 1, level 2, you know, you do want to be autoing people early in lane. If you can auto, the good thing about her autos is I mean her normal range without passive is really shit, and her autos do like nothing. But like she's also really safe relative to other enchanter supports because she can just W to her ADC. The only thing to worry about with that is if you press W and you get like Nautilus hooked out of your W, which can happen if you like react slow to a hook. The W actually goes on cooldown even though you don't go into the ADC, which basically means you're just like dead because now your W is down and you're hooked. So yeah, your champ is just doomed. But if you don't get CC'd out of your W, you're just like really safe. So if there's a case where your ADC can't walk up, but because of your safety you can walk up, then sure, like detach, go out of them. But like even if you're attached, right, you can always pop out an auto, especially for like the passive auto, and her WCD actually goes down while she's in W. So like it's another reason that it's better to be in W than not in W because like you can just be sitting in your W and like waiting for your thing to come down off of cooldown so that you can just detach and like it'll be as if you had been detached the whole time because your W will be off cooldown. So like the fact that people like the thing that people are bad at is definitely not staying in W too much. I think that meme is only like a meme because people are like, oh, support should have presence in the lane. Like when like Janna was just like broken with like coin and like AFK out scale people, people would still be like, yeah, these Janna players should play more aggressively or like it's literally just like right to be AFK sometimes. So it's fine to be attached. Like it doesn't even matter. Like I don't know why I'm talking about this so much. What matters is that you're supposed to be like rotating your Q as much as possible in your passive. Like E, you can use on your ADC whenever. It doesn't matter. Like actually, well, maybe you want to be at like one charge, I guess, because you don't want it to. If you have mana, that is, you want to be using it so it's not like sitting on two charges. But you want to have like a charge up for if they get low and need to run away or something. But uh, it doesn't matter. Like the main thing is you want to be queuing them as often as possible. Her laning is like I don't know why people say she's weaker. Like she can just like queue the shit out of people. What she's bad at is if your ADC gets caught. And I'll go over some like matchups I guess later. But like her laning is really strong with Q. You're just like weak all in. So like champs like Twitch and Jhin are just like fake synergies, like for the invisibility on W or the adaptive force in W. It does not matter at all. Like do not pick Twitch and Jhin with Yuumi. The best ADC with Yuumi and like the best bot lane in League of Legends is Yuumi Sivir because first of all Sivir is very safe versus most supports at least. So like she doesn't get all in by a hook or whatever that easily. But also, Sivir just like nukes the wave, which is really good because right, Yuumi Q is undodgeable. So the only way that they're gonna survive it is if they're pushing into you and have the minion wave to use to dodge it. But with Sivir, they can't push the like they can't even go onto their wave. So you just destroy their wave and then like poke them with Q. Ezreal and Kaisa are also good, I think. And then maybe Lucian and Vayne are okay too. And honestly, anyone like Sivir who is safe and can push and can poke is good with Yuumi. So like a Morgana, a Ziggs. Obviously, you don't have an ADC on your team then, but it's still a good lane with Yuumi. Now, after laning phase, you don't have to stick on your ADC. You might need to peel them, but you can go on other people too. Um, it's just sort of situational if you want a W. Your chase with Q is really good, and so you want to be poking and chasing people, and so you can just W on whoever to do that. Um, for team fights, her ult is this big noob trap ability because it locks you out of doing everything else except for moving and healing for 3.5 seconds, but you can't use your passive or your Q in that time and you want to be using your passive in Q as much as you can. So you really want to try ideally to use your passive in Q before you ult. Maybe there are situations where it's better to just ult because you can like ult a lot of people or something. You just need to. But I think what people actually are really bad at is using their cooldowns in fights and like attaching to the appropriate person to use it. And I know that because I am bad at it. I'm 1,000 LP, so everyone else must like suck complete, just be garbage at it, basically. Um, so like you want to try and okay, I have my passive up. I want to pop out, use it. Like you don't want to just pop out for the sake of like being a body or something. Like you want to be attached the whole time. And this goes for like warding and stuff too. Like you want to go with someone. Like and this is true. Like her warding is honestly better than other enchantress sports because she can check with Q. But like you do need to be attached to somebody. Um, but yeah, in team fights, like you don't want to just ult. You probably want to use your Q and your passive first, and then ult. But also just keep in mind that a lot of the time it's better to attach to like a frontline champion, like Aatrox or whatever, any sort of you know diver. Yuumi is a lot better than other enchantress supports at keeping up with like assassins even or frontline champions. Um, and I can't really explain this as well because it's sort of a situational thing, but like just knowing who to W in fights, like anyone who's like in range of enemies basically or like needs healing. I don't know. It's sort of like important but hard to explain. But yeah, like just don't like ult in a random direction and then be stuck with like locked out of doing anything. And so these are probably the things that really separate the like good and bad Yuumi players, and that people don't like realize how important they are. So yeah, like using your Q and your passive as often as possible in team fights. I think sort of people don't realize how much of a difference it makes if you consistently use your passive and not getting all in, but still poking in lane.